Hello learners, welcome to Learn to Empower. This is a video is a continuation of a previous video where we have dealt with the topic of human values, lessons from the lives and teachings of great leaders, reformers and administrators. Right. In this video we'll be looking into the other dimensions or the leftover part of our first video in looking into the different dimensions of the human values and how these personalities or the great leaders actually served into the particular values and how they were able to uphold that particular value in all times, even though they face difficulties in their life in making the ethical dilemma. Right now, the first and foremost value that in this particular video is the service to humanity. In the previous videos also we have seen that the role of Mother Teresa or how the Mother Teresa's values of serving the humanity is important because she able to established herself a personality where she served the downtrodden people, especially she worked for the welfare of the people who are affected mainly with leprosy. Right now, we can also say the great personality Swami Vivekananda, who worked towards humanity, and he said that service to humanity is nothing but serving to God itself. And the next personality that we are looking into, Prakash Amte and Dr. Mandakini Amte. These are the doctors or the personalities coming from the state of Maharashtra, and they worked for the tribal hamlets in the sectors of healthcare, education, and they also worked for the overall sustainable development of the marginalized population. The next example or the next human value that we're looking into the leadership and vision. As we know, a leader should possess a vision in achieving whatever target that he wants to achieve. Right, a leader is a personality who are able to understand his the masses that are following the particular leader. Right, he is able to sense the sentiment of the people the following the particular leader. Right now, the Mahatma Gandhi is the best leader that we can say during the British time. Right, he he was following the values of non-violence and satyagraha at all the times. Right, he were able to achieve the independence through non-violent movement. Of course, there are a lot of followers, a lot of masses that helped Mahatma Gandhi or were following the paths of Mahatma Gandhi. They were guided by the Mahatma Gandhi's values, and he also worked for the social inequalities, especially untouchable population in the India. Right, next, and the important personality we have already seen in the last videos also, the Nelson Mandela, the vision of Nelson Mandela in his autobiography that he gives, the Long Walk to Freedom, where after getting the independence he established Truth and Reconciliation Commission, where he reconciled between the black majority and white minority, even though the white minority committed a lot of atrocities against the black majority. Right, but still you can find the very good example is that the South African cricket team, where they were able to establish a you can find all the majorly white people in the cricket team. It is not very much possible when all the black people are hating the white minority. Right, but still Nelson Mandela were able to achieve that reconciliation in the particular South Africa. If you remember the recent Supreme Court judgment regarding the abolition of Article 370, one of the judges commented that India also should look for establishing Truth and Reconciliation Commission as like South Africa in Jammu Kashmir in reconciling the Kashmiri Pandits. Right, this is a current development that has happened in the recent times. The next important personality, that is the Steve Jobs. Right, you can imagine the Apple, the product that we see today, where we have a lot of products like iPhones. Earlier we used to have iPods, and now we also have Mac. Right, these products, these innovative products that he used to come, and the vision that he established. Now Apple is $1 trillion economy or $1 trillion company. You can imagine the most of the countries, right, in this world were not able to achieve this $1 trillion kind of thing along with the GDP, etc. But still, the idea, the vision of Steve Jobs, you can certainly imagine how he were able to achieve a successful company like that. Now, the next important in terms of political sphere that we can give, Jawaharlal Nehru. No doubt, Jawaharlal Nehru is the first prime minister of this country and the first foreign minister. In terms of foreign policy that he laid, the policy of NAM, right, non-alignment movement, where India tried to balance the two power blocks at that time. The world was divided between the USSR and USSA, but still India was able to stand out from this from politics, and we established a policy of NAM. Right, we cannot say all positives of NAM, but certainly there were negatives of the NAMs also. But still, we were able to guide our foreign policy according to terms and conditions set by ourselves based upon our national interest. Right, Jawaharlal Nehru was also the great person, where he established the industrialization, where he focused on industries at that time. Right, it requires a lot of guts to go for this kind of because at that time India was a in a developing country. Most of the population was depend upon agriculture, but still India wants to establish industrialization, and moreover, he is a person who is laying the foundation for IITs. Now you can imagine the IITs today, how they are able to achieve their success in the world sphere. Done. Now the next most important personality, that is Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. He not only served as the 11th president of India, but he was called as a missile man of India. You can imagine he always used to have that leadership kind of attitude, where he teaches, where he gives more importance to three personalities like father, mother, and teacher. He says that the corruption in the society can be vanquished, or corruption in the society can be abolished by giving prime importance to three personalities, that is father, mother, and teacher. Right. And the next personality that obviously everybody knows, that is Ratan Tata. You can see the visionary of Ratan Tata, the corporate social responsibility that Ratan Tata holds, or the Tata groups as such holds. Right, they have also have a philanthropic arm, where they give charity towards the different sections of the society. And anyhow, we have seen Kailash Satyarthi's the Bachpan Bachao Andolan, how he worked, and through his no working towards leadership skills, etc., he were able to achieve the Nobel Prize. The next important human value, that is the environmental stewardship, nothing but working towards the welfare of the environment. The most important personality that we came across is Wangari Maathai. Right, she's from Kenya, and she's an environmental activist. She also a Nobel laureate, where she is known for her famous Green Belt movement. Right, which she promoted for reforestation and community empowerment of women rights. Right, she's a very good personality, where you can quote in your exams when the environmental values are concerned. Vandana Shiva, from Indian perspective, she also environmental activist and an author, and she worked for the biodiversity conservation, etc. And she also worked for especially trying to give importance to the genetically modified crops, not in a negative way, but giving awareness what potential causes that it might cause if the negative impacts are happening with respect to genetically modified crops. Now, the next important personality, in the last video also we have seen, in case of Chipko movement, right? In case of Chipko movement, Sundarlal Bahuguna, who worked in, this movement is taking place in the present day Uttarakhand, right? In the present day Uttarakhand, he was a main personality in giving importance or giving the direction towards the grassroots movement that happened in Uttarakhand, right? Next, one more personality from Karnataka, that is Salamudra Timaka, and she, and along with her husband, actually planted around 400 around 400 banyan trees along the highway, where by this she not only achieved the carbon neutral, whatever it might be, but definitely she given a message, right? She given a message that protecting the environment for its intrinsic value, not for the instrumental value. What is the difference between instrumental versus intrinsic? Instrumental value is something where the environment is valued as per the money terms. Right, we need to protect the environment, or we need to save the environment, because environment is giving oxygen, and the oxygen is actually getting into human beings, so we are benefiting. But intrinsic value says about that, not considering all this factor, we need to protect the environment just because it is an environment that need to be protected. That is the intrinsic values of the environment. Right, next human value, that is the education and knowledge. As we have seen in the last slide, that APJ Abdul Kalam was the very supporter of education. Right, because he is the one who suffered in getting the early education when he was studying in the remote part of the Rameshwaram in present Tamil Nadu. Right, the next the organization that we can say, that is Pratham organization, which actually gives a report, right, which actually gives a report about the Indian education system, etc. This is an NGO working in the education sector, etc., where this NGO actually studies how the school students are actually performing in their academics, right? And by this report, India government also takes initiative in empowering the people or empowering the students. Raghuram Rajan, definitely the next personality is Raghuram Rajan. Leadership skills, you can find he is a person who highlighted the need for educated workforce that is needed. He talks about investment in the human capital, especially education in India. And the next organization, that is a non-profit organization, that is Tech for India, where he also trains the graduates and professionals from the various fields. And it is a kind of organization which takes the experts from the other organization, and they kind of reinvent or or makes the innovation in the education sector, right? And definitely the next personality, that is Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan. He was the first vice president and the second president of India. Because of him only we today celebrate the Teachers Day in September 5th, right? Now next is the Dr. Amartya Sen. He was also a Nobel laureate in the in the field of economics, right? And he's a personality who gives the importance for the human capital. He says that education and health should be given prime importance. When the education and health of the population is met, the GDP of the country will automatically increases, right? He gives the importance for education in the primary sense. Next is Kiran Bedi, right? Kiran Bedi, she's the first female Indian police service officer, and she did a lot of reforms in terms of education in the jail, in the Tihar jail itself, because over the period of time what happened is that the people or the jailers or the authorities or the bureaucracy, whatever it might be, they fail to realize that jails are meant for rehabilitation, right? Jails are meant for rehabilitation of the people, right? After the rehabilitation, the person has to be sent back to the society. Rather, people started thinking that jails are only meant for punishment. Now Kiran Bedi, with her innovative ideas, she came up with giving education or imparting education to the people in the Tihar jail. Now, next important personality, Dr. Tessie Thomas. If you know, she worked in the Agni for missile program, where she also called as Missile Woman of India, right? And the next human value, that is ethical governance. You can find that a lot of personalities, especially Abraham Lincoln or Lee Kuan Yew, actually he's from Singapore, and we can say he's the founder of Singapore. Now you can imagine how Singapore is the cleanest city today, right? Even though it was a very small, it is a city state, right? It is a small country with a lot of huge GDP. How the human development of the particular Singapore was improved, etc. You can imagine the innovative idea of this personality. Now Abraham Lincoln is a great leader, no doubt. He actually worked in abolition of slavery from USA, right? He was a person who was a president at the time of American Civil War, right? You can imagine how much the leadership skills or how much the vision that the personality has possessed, and still able to achieve the ethical governance. The next personality is Nelson Mandela, for sure. We have seen in the previous slide. Next is you can imagine the period of Anna Hazare, right? When Anna Hazare was doing the protest, he was trying to establish, he was trying to aware the people about the menace of corruption that is taking place in the society. He did a protest, he did a hunger strike in forcing the parliament to pass something called as a Lokpal bill. Now it is a Lokpal Act. Now you can imagine that he worked for the ethical governance of the country, because he felt that compassion, he felt that need, that India needs this kind of body to work against the corruption, which also includes the Prime Minister. Right now the Prime Minister is also covered under the jurisdiction of Lokpal. The next important personality, that is T.N. Seshan. T.N. Seshan, you can imagine, when the T.N. Seshan was a chief election commissioner in the period of 1990 to 1996, he strictly implemented model code of conduct, right? During his period, we can see a lot of reforms taking place in the election system. Why? Because he was very valued for the ethical governance, right? He gives very much value for the ethical governance, and he worked for the voter awareness, etc. And next personality is Sridharan. He is famously called as Metro Man of India. Now if you are traveling in metro, you should remember this personality, because during his tenure as a chief engineer in the particular project, the work was done in a very fast manner in establishing new benchmarks in the transparency and efficiency, right. Next is N. Narayan Murthy, right? He is a founder, no doubt. He established a very big IT companies, and with corporate social responsibility, he were able to create a very big opportunities for the youth. And by this we are coming to end of this video, and end of this topic as well. In the next video we'll be taking up the next topic regarding the ethics. Till then, thank you.